I have had many moments of shame where I thought I just knew everything, or I knew that particular thing we were talking about. And then I don't, and I feel to be curious, and I miss out on so much about a person or a thing because I go in with like, oh, I have done it, I don't do this anymore.
Learning to swim is about learning from others. Be the author of your own story, not a character in somebody else's story. Get inspired by others to take action. Learn how to set goals to exceed your own expectations. So often the answer that you are looking for is right in front of you. On Learning to Swim, we highlight those answers through storytelling. Hey there, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay, thanks. How are you?
I am doing very, very well. Thank you for being a guest on Learning to Swim, my new interview series. So I have with me today Angelica Gutierrez, and I have known Angelica now for, I guess about 6 years. And we were just immediate fast friends, and I'm so grateful to have her in my life. And I am very thankful that you are willing to give some time today. So I want to do a quick introduction. Angelica is the founder and owner of Sexual Radiance Coaching company, SXY Radiance. Angelica has 20 plus years experience working with individuals in healing sexual traumas, helping individuals refuse cultural ideals in an effort to empower individuals in reclaiming their sexuality and identity so that they can live a more expansive, creative, and pleasurable life. Angelica has a graduate degree from Columbia University School of Social Work, where she conjured up an appetite for international work and has since lived and worked in Europe, has done work in Africa, of course, works in the United States, and actually is currently based in Seattle, Washington. So Angelica, welcome.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
Great. So the format of Learning to Swim is you are asked questions that you have not seen before or have not been prepped for, and it's really just about getting your first response. And so let's. You ready?
Oh my God, yeah. Are you ready? Are you ready for my first response?
I am, and I think it's very interesting because these questions were formulated over a year ago. And so that means they were pre-COVID. So the first question is, what does resilience mean to you?
That's a really big word, meaning like it has a lot of layers of meaning to me. But I think in a nutshell, resilience is, first, I just want to say that I think we all have a level of resilience. Some of us have more space than others. I do see resilience in my head as space to be able to be in the mud, if you will, or in the soup or in the quicksand. And rather than giving in to the fear, we will find in ourselves ways to cope with that, ways to allow it to help us grow. And sometimes it's conscious and unconscious. It can be very unconscious for some of us. We don't even know that we're resilient and that strong until we go through something. So it means just this internal power that we tap into and are able to use to grow and expand, which is something that we need when we're healing sexually.
Yeah. So, and then the next question is, what does failure look like to you?
The way I see failure has changed. So I used to think that you'd set a goal and you plan for it, you do everything you can, doesn't work out, you failed. I thankfully don't see the world that way anymore. I do think that failure is relative. And if I had to define failure as such, I would probably say that failure is a lack of showing up for ourselves constantly. And when we neglect ourselves and we fail to nurture ourselves, we fail to grow, we fail to expand. And so I would say that probably giving up is more how I identify failure. And not giving up because you know that that's not the road to take, but like, this is way too much hard work. I don't want to look at this part of myself. Let me keep going. And then, a certain part of your life, if not many, end up not working out. It was a choice. And so I think that's how I see failure now. But I do have a very generous perspective about failure because I believe that we can all somehow, even if it's at the very end of our life, redeem ourselves from what we think is failure.
Well, and I think that both of those questions really came from the idea, so much in, whether it's education, academia, in the business world, there is this talk about grit and resilience and kind of reframing failure, which I think you're speaking to just on a personal level. But I really, I definitely, your definition of failure, of not failing to show up for yourself, that really resonates with me. Thank you for sharing that. So kind of conversely, or kind of another piece of it, because I like to think a lot about creativity and how to apply creativity to all that we do, and especially in our professional life. And for me, one of the components of it is curiosity. So I wanted to ask you, how do you kind of remain curious or open?
That was kind of curiosity. I feel like at this point has been forced on me through life. Like, all right, just be curious and stop making conclusions over things you don't really know shit about. So I'm going to say that I remain curious by having been humbled so many times in life and so many difficult moments, having drawn conclusions that were so off. I found out years later, or curiosity has become important to me because I have had many moments of shame where I thought I just knew everything, or I knew that particular thing we were talking about. And then I don't, and I fail to be curious, and I miss out on so much about a person or a thing because I go in with like, I have gone in, I don't do this anymore, thank God, but because I've gone in thinking I already know this, or I've heard this before, or this isn't interesting. And I've kind of reversed that. And now I go into things, even if I've had that experience before. So at a restaurant, for example, a restaurant we frequent, we know what we're getting. Even now with that, I go in with curiosity because I know it's not going to be the same exact thing as the last time. It might taste slightly different this time. And instead of getting disappointed, I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe there's somebody else in the kitchen, or I'll appreciate something new. So I've made myself kind of stay curious because I don't want to be so disappointed. And I think it's just an important way of approaching life for me. And that has come probably in 6 years. 6 years ago when we met, I think one of the people in our group spoke of curiosity and really helped me to just kind of shift the way that I saw being curious, and then applying it to the fact that I've become curious as a result of so much pain in my own life.
Yeah, that makes sense. So then what's your secret to a meaningful life?
Well, it's not going to be a secret anymore. My secret to a meaningful life.
Well, okay, maybe I should reframe that question. It just is. I think that's it's meant to allude to the fact that I think that each of us have our own very unique definition of what a meaningful life is.
Yes, it's a formula, I guess, right? My own personal formula.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's really being present and intentional. And I don't always get those two things right. Sometimes I really default to being in a space and my head is somewhere else and I don't notice. But where I get the most meaning is when I actually sit in the moment and in my feelings, and I notice what's happening in my body, and I know what's happening in my head, and it shifts everything. I almost feel like I don't need to have control when I'm in doing it correctly, when I'm actually like really going inside and doing everything I can to be present. And that's how I manage staying without going into too much overwhelm where I can't progress or make any significant changes. So it's really just being, it might sound cheesy and probably very cliche. I almost said very clitoris-shay.
That must be like a professional, what do they call it? Yeah.
I found a podcast today where it's called Clit something, and I was like, that is not the right word. It's not a word. But it might sound cliche, but being mindful is, to me, like the best practice. Being mindful with your clitoris shade.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so what is your best single habit that you have, either old or new, that you've adopted?
My best single habit. Can it be
Your favorite?
My absolute favorite, I gotta say, has got to be a good yoga practice.
Okay.
Just a really good, like, get in there, feel everything, curse at whoever invented yoga sometimes, and just really feel it. But my new one is playing guitar.
Oh my
And I really
gosh.
love it. I mean, I'm learning, but I love even the making, like I know like 3 separate chords, only 2 go together, but it's so fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, very cool. And what would be one word to describe your professional journey?
These are good questions, Kristan Browne. One word.
Thank you, Angelica Gutierrez.
Please ask the question again. I just want to have my eyes closed.
One word to describe your professional journey.
Transformative.
That's so nice. And one word to describe your life.
One word to describe my life. I think I need to expand my vocabulary. This is what I'm getting from this. I need an all-encompassing word right now. One word. It's very hard because I don't want to discount the hardships that have turned me into who I am today. And today, my life is completely different than it used to be. And I feel much more fulfilled than I ever have. So, and I don't want to use the word satisfied because I'm not dead and I'm not there. I'm not always 100% satisfied with the way things go. So I'm just,
is there a level of contentment?
There is contentment. And then there's a level of, it's taken a lot of, to use a word that you used earlier, resilience on my part, and lots of perseverance. But I would say expansive. Let's say expansive because it has really gone from, I feel like as a little girl, I was very expansive and then I was kind of put into a box. And then as I got older, I've had to, I can't live inside of a box in my own shell. I can't live without going crazy. So I would say expansive is probably how if I had to use a word.
Yeah. Well, and I would totally agree with that. I mean, how I see you is just this very light-filled and light-giving person. So kind of that expansive nature of light too. So I would totally agree with that. So I'm curious if you can remember your first paid task or position. So this would be, whenever, like, it could be as a child, like literally what was that first thing that you received money for?
The first thing I received money for was being a cashier at the Whole Donut.
Ooh. And where was that located?
That was in New London, Connecticut. I was 15. It was my first job. And when they made me sell a donut after a fly fell on it, I quit. I was
Oh my God.
I'm not doing this ever again. Oh, sorry, I just said the whole name, but I don't think they exist anymore. I think they're gone. But that was the first time. I've done lots of work, but I never actually got paid for it. I used to be a babysitter for all my cousins, but I didn't get paid.
Okay, so the whole donut. And so I guess what are, if any, are there any connections to your current profession or how you kind of approach your professional life?
Well, there's a hole in the middle, I mean, that is a direct comparison, I guess. Rings, all
Yeah.
kinds of rings for men and women, and so that's really weird. But yeah, other than that, maybe sweet. There's lots of sweetness in my life.
Okay.
That doesn't cause diabetes or make you obese. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, you're making me laugh. I love this.
Oh, and the taking and receiving of money, that has been a big journey for me. So that, even though I didn't make that connection back then, handling money was kind of like, I was like, wow, they really trust me. And it felt kind of nice to be 15 and being trusted with the dollar bills behind the donuts.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to shift gears a little bit and I want to hear about what is your in plain sight talent?
Oh man, that's got to be dancing. Because I do that all the time.
Okay.
And I mean, I say talent, I can move. I'm not professional, but I've got rhythm. So
I would totally agree.
Yeah. So, and that I do without, like, I don't ever feel shy around. As soon as I hear music, I'm done. So that's gonna be my talent.
Oh, love it. Okay, and then any hidden talents you're willing to share with our vast audience today?
Well, that I'm willing to share. Let me think. There's some hidden talents, but I think a hidden talent is I actually take to things quickly when I really like them. So like the fact that I'm actually making music out of 2 chords on my guitar when I'm only practicing like 15 minutes a day for the last, maybe I took a whole week off, so about 2 weeks in total. And I actually making sounds that sound like music. So I'm like, God, when I'm really interested in something, I take to it. And I just completely just go down the rabbit hole. So I would say that's, the talent is just being able to kind of pick up on things that I love and roll with it. Is that a talent? Or is that
I do think it is a talent for sure. Oh my gosh, I think that's a really wonderful talent. And it's fun that you know that about yourself.
Yeah, but remember the key is when I like something.
Right. No. I totally heard that.
Yeah.
Because I think that makes that makes all the difference with everything. I don't even get me started. Okay, so your next trip, where are you going?
Oh, I'm actually going to Bainbridge Island on Monday.
And would you share why you've selected Bainbridge?
Yeah, well, my dear friend bought a 3-night Airbnb stay with bikes near the beach, and she can't go because she's moving. And so I bought the trip off of her, and I was like, why not? I can go work, and be in nature, be by myself a few days. So that's my next trip, and it's on Monday.
Lucky you. That sounds great.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So tell me, what is your favorite holiday?
My favorite
And you
holiday.
can include your birthday.
Oh, it can. So
Okay.
let's go from my, well, actually, I really think it's Thanksgiving though. I love spending time with people and eating. And my favorite part is I usually, when I host, I make my guests say one thing they're grateful for.
Mm,
It really just helps people focus on the good in their life. So I have to say that's probably my favorite holiday.
yeah, I would agree. I think I'm right there with you. So, do you have dreams where you fly?
Absolutely. I've mastered my flying. Proud of that.
Well, tell me.
Yeah, so I can fly at will now. So I used to be the sloppiest flyer and the most scared flyer in the air. I'd be like flying and like nervous, and then I'd be like, oh my god, and I start coming down, and my landing. It's lucky that I never died because it would be rough. I'd be like, whoa, whoa. But and I'm like, oh my god, I'd be like all over the floor, and I was like, I gotta get this right because I'm gonna get hurt. And over the years, I have learned to fly at will. So when I'm afraid and I'm being chased in my dreams, I remember I can fly and I close my eyes and I just take flight. Sometimes when I want to get somewhere fast in my dream, I'm like, you know what? I don't have to walk. And I'll get up and I'll just literally close. In my dream, I close my eyes and I focus and I start flying. And I'm super good. I can land now. I'm super smooth. I'm like, it's great. I love it. So yeah, I'm a great flyer.
I love that. That actually is a really amazing talent too. So just so.
Yeah, because I remember being so frustrated thinking, why do I fly in my dreams if I can't do anything? I can't fix it. I can't take off when I want to. I can't come down smoothly when I want to. And now I can. And it's like, oh my God, but it took a lot of conscious practice while I was sleeping. Like I would be like, I can do this. You've been flying for a while. You're going to have to get it right.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, and what's your animal? Like if you were to be an animal, what is it? Or what's kind of your kindred?
I've thought about that, and I have to be honest, I don't think I would want to be an animal. It scares me that humans go after them and kill them.
Well, it's not exactly like if you had to be one, but
Okay.
if you were like, what's an animal that you kind of feel like you share traits with or that you're akin to?
It would have to be either a bird of flight, that one, and not any particular one that can fly really high and long. And I love the water, and I love how playful dolphins are. And so probably because I'm a sucker for fun and I'm a sucker for water, I might need to go with the dolphin.
Okay. You can change your mind, but for now we'll go with dolphin.
Okay.
Is that okay?
That sounds good. I like the fact that I can change my mind once I learn about the animals.
Yeah.
Well, that's a mammal. Does that count? If not, we'll go with a bird.
No, animals include mammals and birds.
Okay.
Yeah, I meant the bigger, what is it? Genus of, yeah. Okay. So my final question is there one question that you wished I had asked you and haven't yet?
Oh God, you have really good questions. No. I actually enjoyed every single question. It made me really think about stuff. So that's how unrehearsed I am with these kinds of questions. But it was really good for me to kind of think about it. So no, I don't think there was anything that but there is something I forgot to say in terms of the talent, and that is that I've been told, and I feel this, that I'm very good with people. I make space for people. I see people. I kind of see they're almost beyond the facade, and I can see people's talents. So I forgot to say that when you were asking me about the secret talent, but in terms of a question that no, nothing comes to mind.
Well, I'm glad that you expanded upon your talents, because I would agree with that talent as well. And thank you so much. That wraps up all of our questions. It has been such a pleasure. Although I know you, I love hearing you answer these questions in this format. So thank you for your time. And I do want to let people know, if you are interested in getting, just to find out more about Angelica and SXY Radiance, she can be found on Facebook and Instagram under Angelica SXY Radiance. And you also may contact her by email for sure. And her email address, and I will be posting this as well, but her email address is daretoflyinfo@gmail.com. And if you email her with the subject line healer, you will be eligible for a complimentary call with Angelica. So thank you again, and such a pleasure to talk with you as always.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This was really fun, super spontaneous questions. So thank you for inviting me. And also, if for people it's hard, healer, we can put what they don't remember, because that was for an interview I did with a healer.
Okay.
We can do sexy if that's helpful for people.
Oh, I think sexy is super. Okay, so if you want to talk to Angelica, I would daretoflyinfo@gmail.com, and in the subject line, sexy.
Yes, we like that.
We like that very much.
Thank you so much, Kristan.
Our goal is to inspire others and share stories to find meaning in your daily life. Let go of the traditional norms and be yourself at home, work, and beyond. The awareness of bright spots and blind spots is a performance-enhancing tool that you can apply to your life and to your organization today.